Welcome back to the Express at Canada Place. So what are you serving at your Canada Day celebration? Let me guess. Beaver tails and beer with a little Bryan Adams as the soundtrack. Now that's okay, but if you're looking for some standout backyard barbecue ideas, from Canadian-inspired cocktails to cupcakes, we've got them up next with the hostess with the mostess, Joanna Tymkiw.
Thank you so much. What a nice day. I'm done. I'm done.
It's a Canada Day barbecue hosted by professional cook Joanna Tymkiw. She's all about easy entertaining, and we're going to find out just how she does it.
So nothing says Canada Day like a summer barbecue. So using Canadian flavors and colors just to make an easy but impressive menu for your guests. I think that's the best way to celebrate this Canada Day.
Joanna recommends pre-cooking the chicken in the oven up to 2 days in advance. On the day of the barbecue, it's on to the maple mustard glaze.
So 15 minutes before you want to serve it, put it on a hot barbecue, brush it with your glaze, and it will get nice and crisp and dark. It's going to be beautiful. Perfect.
Top with toasted hazelnuts and a little green onion, and presto, ready to serve. Joanna also created a special Canada Day sangria.
My inspiration for the sangria was just to keep it light and really let those red, patriotic colors of the fruit I'm using shine through. So I'm using strawberries and red plums, and it's actually a white sangria. So it's using white wine. It's also a little bit sweeter than a regular white wine. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day.
And no Canada Day celebration would be complete without some patriotic cupcakes, pre-made by Joanna and ready to decorate.
The secret for baking these a couple days ahead of time and for making them taste like they're fresh baked is to add a couple extra tablespoons of oil to the batter. This is going to keep them moist and perfect.
Not only did it look nice, it tasted great too, which is obviously why we're here, to enjoy the food and each other's company.
You know, it was inspiring because I felt like I could make something like that and make it look just as nice.
It's like dinner theater, you know? You have Joanna and her fantastic food, but also her personality coming through.
A successful Canada Day barbecue by Joanna Tymkiw, who has a motto she lives by when entertaining.
Food should always taste good and make you feel good. So that's what I love about doing these parties and entertaining for my friends.
In Vancouver, I'm Kendall Harris for The Express.
Joanna calls her mom the queen of entertaining, and her inspiration is to take her mom's very detail-oriented ideas and turn them into simple recipes that any home cook can do. You're watching our Express Canada Day special. Still to come, we have Aboriginal arts, Canadian sports, and right now, a history lesson from BC's interior.
Cultus Lake Water Park's Big Summer is brought to you by Cultus Lake Water Park.
Steady, boys.
Cottonwood House Historic Site is located 26 kilometers east of Quesnel, BC. This authentic roadhouse served the Gold Rush Trail that operated between Quesnel and Barkerville starting in the mid-1860s.
Cottonwood House is a heritage site now, but originally when it was built in 1863, it was a roadhouse. So basically a stopping point for miners and travelers on the way to Barkerville or back to Quesnel. This house here right behind me was built in 1863 by John Ryder and Alan Smith, and then all the other buildings on site here were built throughout the 1800s and the early 1900s. In 1874, when the Boyd family bought it, they ran it as a full running roadhouse with a general store, a post office, and a telegraph center. So most of your miners throughout the Cariboo Gold Rush would stop here, and this was a place you could get all your supplies on your way to Barkerville, and you could also spend the night here in boarding rooms as well as have home-cooked meals and get some food as well.
One of the many great aspects of Cottonwood House are the informative carriage rides.
Mr. Boyd farmed over 1,000 acres here. And that was back in the 1860s, early 1870s, and it was all by hand. All of the farm machinery prior to the turn of the century, all of the hay was put up with horse-drawn mowers and or scythes sometimes, all hauled in with horses and wagons, and then all put up into the tops of these barns, these double barns with a rope and a pulley system. But also they had to serve the public here, and you know, long after the public was in bed, they were still working. So it would have been a great life, but it would have been very hard. sometimes people on the rides here can't imagine, you know. But this is why we have to, I like to think, keep the heritage alive and tell people and show people what it was and what it still is in some cases, right?
This is a piece of the past that people don't normally get to see, and it's one of the authentic heritage sites that you can't find anywhere else in BC. And we have accommodations and a restaurant and gift and candy store, and we all dress in olden day clothes, so it's something you can't experience anywhere else.
Reporting from Quesnel for Big Summer, I'm John Mckenzie.
Cultus Lake Water Park Big Summer has been brought to you by Cultus Lake Water Park.
You're watching The Express, and we have more Canadiana after the break.
There was never books about Aboriginal people.
Sharing stories.
I was hitting a lot of sand and not a lot of balls.
Sport with spirit. The Express. We are your local voice.
The Express is brought to you in part by Plum, fashion supplier to host Joanna Ward.
Welcome back to our Express Canada Day special, honoring the places and, more importantly, the people that make our country strong. Up next, we meet an Aboriginal author from the Fraser Valley who hopes to inspire her culture's next generation.
I've always been a reader, but there was never books about Aboriginal people. There's never books about Aboriginal children. You know, The Indian in the Cupboard was the big one for me, and trying to think of anything else, there wasn't any.
So she decided to write her own. This Aboriginal children's author may be a mom working on her master's degree, but she's also just penned her third kids book. After moving to Chilliwack for merit in the Nicola Valley, Nicola Campbell studied creative writing in university and wrote her first award-winning adventure.
My stories tell the different transitions a child goes through into becoming a teen and into becoming an adult and becoming a young woman. And that's what my goal is to create that path, is to break that trail so that when somebody is struggling, when a child or a teenager is struggling and they happen to pick up one of my books, my hope is that it's going to inspire them.
Shishi Etko won the Aboriginal Children's Book of the Year Award in 2006, and the sequel, Shinji's Canoe, received the TD Canadian Children's Literature Award in 2009. And now Nicola's third book, Grandpa's Girls, was recently recognized as one of the 5 finalists for the Christy Harris BC Book Award, the first time the province has acknowledged her work.
Shishi Etko and Shinji's Canoe, there's images that happen in those books, like with paddling and stuff, that like they cross traditional territories. The paddling didn't happen at home, it was something that I learned here in Stalo territory. Because I'm not Stalo, I'm Interior Salish, I'm in Mckenzie Silk. On my mother's side I'm Thompson Okanagan, and my dad was Métis.
Although there was a canoe in Nicola's first and second book, the boat is more than just a vessel. The traditional sport of paddling signifies much more to this First Nations author.
When I first started, I was actually scared of the water because my dad drowned when I was a baby. So it was a kind of a process to overcome that. But then I also got completely hooked on it. It's changed my life in a lot of ways. It's made me a stronger person.
Growing up in the Thompson, canoes weren't a large part of her First Nations heritage. But the canoe, like her writing, soon became an outlet for self-expression.
She didn't know a whole lot of people in the valley, and so I asked her to start paddling. Because one of our traditional teachings is when you give a young person a paddle to start paddling for our cultural ways, you're saving their life.
Besides paddling, both First Nations ladies glide along in parallel lives with their culture, spirituality, education, and as mothers. And though they don't get a boat full of time together, they're still each other's main supporters.
I'm just really impressed by Nicola, and I totally admire her. She always finds a way through her writing to keep moving forward, keep trying, being that role model for our younger people.
As a writer and as an author, it gave me another way of learning how to create change in the world by opening hearts and opening minds.
For Shaw TV, I'm Tiffany Gurden.
You can find Nicola's work at some local bookstores and also online at Amazon.com. Now we're moving on from fiction to fact, specifically Canadiana facts about golf. We're joining Nicole Fitzgerald in Whistler Village. So when did the sport first come to North America?
Well, the first formal club was established here in Canada, in Montreal in 1873. However, it wasn't until 20 years later that they established a female-only club. And since then, the sport has grown, and it's thanks to programs like this.
I was hitting a lot of sand and not a lot of balls.
Women, they're so quick to point out their flaws. Men overestimate their ability. Women tend to do the opposite. So it's not surprising many golfers like Michelle Robertson seek out an expert before stepping onto the greens.
With that, the bottom part of the club is lower than the leading edge.
You can't learn from friends. You do need to take instruction, and Graham's fantastic.
So that's going to help us splash the club in the sand.
Golf pro and instructor Graham Kehoe is the only testosterone present at the ladies' lessons program at the Nicholas North Golf Course and Training Facility in Whistler. The ladies-only 5-session program offers beginner or intermediate instruction in an effort to encourage more women to take a swing at the sport. From clubs and etiquette to technique and rules, one thing remains the same. Confidence is the name of the game.
There's no men, there's no competition. I've made a really good friend in the process, and it's nice just to have all ladies. You're all on the same playing field as well.
Today, Michelle and her new friend Kayako Shirane practice in the bunker. Over the last 5 classes, the two golfers have also learned full swings with irons and woods, as well as putting and chipping.
They get to come down and use the practice facility during their entire 5-week course. In this game, we need to practice a lot to be able to improve. We provide them with 2012 tailor-made golf clubs, a full set. That's complimentary during their lessons, during their practice time.
Ladies move what they learned at the practice facility here onto the course and yell 4 at 5. The ladies' lessons include 4 rounds of free golf on the par 71 18-hole golf course here at Nicholas North anytime after 5 p.m.
We didn't even know how to hold a club or what different clubs were, and it was great. The 5 weeks we did different clubs on different weeks, and I definitely feel as though I can go out now and have a game. My first game's today.
And how does she feel?
A little bit nervous. I might have a glass of wine, maybe 2.
Thankfully, each lesson wraps up with participants toasting a complimentary 2-course fine dining experience with a glass of wine at the Den. It's never hard to find a reason to celebrate after class.
Cheers. I feel confident knowing that I know what the game's about, and also I know the etiquette behind it. I feel prepared. I feel that I can go out there and give it a go. I'm going to sign up for the next 5 weeks, maybe an intermediate.
A confidence statement. It's what these Nicholas North ladies' lessons are all about. From Whistler, I'm Nicole Fitzgerald for Shaw TV.
More golf facts for you. Canadians make more than 1 million golf trips annually, spending over $1.9 billion annually. Another benefit, Canadian golf events raise close to $440 million for charities. Gotta love golf, and you gotta love Canada Day. And for more ways to celebrate, we've got the 411 on your FYI.
Radar's Quality Assured Collisions FYI is presented by Radar's Quality Assured Collision, an ICBC Valet accredited repair facility.
The city of Abbotsford is celebrating Canada Day with a family festival Sunday, July 1st at Rotary Stadium and a parade on South Fraser Way. The 67th annual Steveston Salmon Festival starts Sunday morning with the K-Jack Salmon Run at 9:50 and the parade at 10. Celebrate in the streets at Carnaval del Sol 2012. The Latin American Festival heats up Granville Street on June 30th from 10 to 10.
Radar's Quality Assured Collisions FYI was presented by Radar's Quality Assured Collision.
And of course, the biggest party out west, the Canada Place Waterfront Party, July 1st from 10 until 6, with over 30 bands on 3 stages and all kinds of family activities. Then the party continues at 7 o'clock with the Canada Day Parade presented by Shaw TV. I'll be hosting along with digital guru Trevor Jurgens from Canada Place and reporter Bianca Solter-Beck. We'll be broadcasting that at 9 o'clock, and that'll roll into the live fireworks show at 10:30. Happy Canada Day, and thanks for watching The Express, only on Shaw TV.